Hello, my little foiling addicts. All right, we're going to do a test here. One of the things I have on my list to do for you guys is to find a good quality dark cardstock to foil on. Foiling on dark cardstock really makes an impact because that foil just pops, right? So as you can see here, I printed out the FSC Foiling Snob Club logo. And I've used 3 different types of papers. So I'm going to show you the papers and then we'll see how this works out. I have 1 sheet of the Recollections 100-pound cardstock. This you can find at your local Michael's. I have a sheet of Stampin' Up! A Basic Black cardstock. And then this is new paper to me. This is called Luxe paper. I found this on Amazon and I will link it for you as well. This is a heavier cardstock. I would say this is probably pretty close to 100-pound cardstock. All right. Now the foils that I have cut a sheet of these Mink foils from Heidi Swapp, and that's because we're going to foil the whole sheet using the full-size Mink today. So we have Iridescent Ultraviolet, Iridescent Lime, and Iridescent Teal, and I have cut those down. And then we have the full-size Mink, and I have it on 4 because this is thicker cardstock. And I have marked each paper. So we're going to put them in our large carrier sheet. And as always, I am going to dust. Now, I did not change the settings on my printer at this time are set for regular density. I didn't change it to full density yet because I wanted to see if we have an issue with regular density before we do that. I'm also going to dust off the back side of the foil here. You always want to dust because if there is any dust particles on there, you're not going to be able to see it, but that foil is going to resist sticking. Okay, so we're going to feed that through while I dust off the other 2. Yeah, so if you did any kind of heat embossing, anything with glitter, any pets, you really kind of want to wipe down your area before you do any kind of foiling. You want to make sure that you've printed on a good, high quality, smooth cardstock, any kind of cardstock that has any kind of ridges or any kind of texture to it will not hold that foil. It just doesn't come out as nicely. Oop. Just trying to smooth out any wrinkles there. It is a slow process, but it's worth it, and you don't want to reveal anything until after everything has cooled down. Okay, so the pink is almost done here. I'm working in a very small space, so pull that one out. Okay, I'm going to put the lime color through now. And again, for those of you new to my channel, we do have a Facebook group. It's called Foiling and Stamping Fun, where you get a lot of answers regarding any kind of foiling, stamping, card making, crafts in general. When it comes to foiling, there are 2 different kinds of foiling systems. There is a hot foiling system, which would be like your Spellbinders Glimmer, your Gemini foil press machine, your Couture Creations Go Press and Foil. For those of you in Europe, the Toto machine. And then there is toner foiling. And toner foiling is using a toner, printed image like we just did, and using heat to adhere that. So that would be the Mink foil, Deco foil, Creative Vision Stamps foil, all of those companies. So two different, completely different types of foiling systems, two different types of foil. You do not want to mix them up. And if you go to our Facebook page, again, it's Foiling and Stamping Fun. In the files section, I have separated the machines and the foils so that you understand what the difference is. Now you can also foil with a laminator. You do get better coverage with the Mink because the Mink is going to give you a hotter setting of heat where you can set the setting. Also, it has pressure with the rollers. With the laminator, you do want to make sure that your laminator gets nice and hot. You want to have it on the 5 milliliter setting, and you want to let that heat up for at least a half an hour. The Mink machine was designed specifically for foiling so that you have the different settings there. I have the large and the mini. The mini is the one I use most often because I do card making. I just recently picked up the large one, and so that's why I'm going to do these full-size foiling samples to see, you know, how quickly we can laminate 6 logos here instead of doing one at a time. Not laminate, foil, I should say. You can use this as a laminator as well. And if you've never checked out my page before, I do have a huge foiling playlist on hot foiling, on Mink foiling, just foiling in general. All kinds of different things you can do, including using stencils with your foils. But just a lot of fun, and I would recommend that you join our Facebook group. We accept everyone, and it doesn't matter what your level of expertise is. We're just a very fun-loving, supportive group. All right, so then once this last one's done, we'll do our reveal. If you're having a hard time with foiling and it's not sticking well, I would, number 1, check your paper. Make sure you're using a really smooth cardstock. Number 2, make sure that you have dusted off everything with a Swiffer or soft brush. Number 3, make sure if you are using a laminator that it is nice and hot. You may not need a transfer sheet. If you do, maybe just a piece of copy paper or parchment paper will work for you. Number 4, check your foil. Sometimes people mix up their hot foil and regular toner foil. And then check your laser printer. You cannot print this on an inkjet printer. It has to be printed on a laser printer. And oftentimes you can change the density or the quality of your print. The more toner you can get on there, the better it's going to be for your foiling to stick. So you want to check that. So that's why I'm starting these off with a regular density. I think it'll be fine. And if I need to raise it up, I can always go in and raise it up. But the point of today's test really was just to see which black paper would hold on to that toner the best. All right, so these have all cooled down now. You always want to make sure they're cooled before you reveal them. And it looks like this is the Recollections paper using the lime green foil, again, from Heidi Swapp Mink. We want to keep our scraps. This foiled very nicely. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close. There are a couple spots of dust. There are some of the smaller bits where it says Nancy Stamps, which I think could have been covered a little better. I don't know that I would necessarily say that's the paper. Maybe more so the printer, the foiling density, and the font. But I think that came out pretty good. Definitely will be cutting those out and using those. All right. All right, the next one we're going to reveal is the Stampin' Up! Paper. And here you can really see a difference. So I'm going to hold these up. So again, printed on the same print settings, using the same manufacturer foil, just different papers. And you can see the Stampin' Up! Paper, it has a little bit more texture to it. There are some more distressed areas in those letters. So not as good as the Recollections. You can definitely see more black spots in there. And that is not dust. That is the paper not adhering very well to the toner. So far, Recollections is beating out the Stampin' Up! All right, and then the last one is the new paper to me. This is called Luxe paper. I found it on Amazon. Again, I will link everything for you guys. And this came out pretty good. I would say this is really good. I would say it's actually equivalent to the Recollections brand. I'm going to say the Recollections probably edged it out a little bit, just because, again, if you look at some of the smaller letters, like here on the S, on the smaller letters up here, it doesn't have as good of adhesion. The FSC looks really good. It's really good, solid coverage there. But in terms of the smaller letters on the Nancy stamps, there are a couple letters that I wish were just a little bit better adhered to the foil. Still looks good, but I'm going to say in this round, the Recollections is the winner. So if you have Recollections, heavy 100-pound cardstock, that works pretty good. If you have the Luxe paper, works good as well. And this is heavy. They're both, I'm going to say both of these are 100-pound. They're both pretty heavy. And then in last place, unfortunately, is the Stampin' Up! Cardstock. Just too many spots on there for my liking. So there we go. There is your dark cardstock foiling review. If you have any questions, post them down below. If you like this video, I do appreciate your thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to our channel. I'll put the little bubble in the bottom right-hand corner. You can click the bell and it will give you notifications anytime I post videos or I am on live. And again, our Facebook group is called Foiling and Stamping Fun. I'll link everything I use down in the description for you. Thanks for watching and keep on foiling. Bye-bye.